G'day guys, welcome back to the farm on Farming Simulator 22. Starting from scratch, we are in November now. So previously we harvested all the sugar beet, and this is what we've kept to one side for a future production when we get the sugar mill happening. And we have a load of oil over here loaded up in the trailer ready to be sold. This is all our canola oil that we produced over the last few months, and I believe it's time to sell that. So we'll just double check on the price for that, make sure that's right. 1,800, yes, that's about right. So we should take that in and start by getting a little bit of money brought into the farm. And we've got a busy day ahead. We have the sunflowers that we need to harvest. That's pretty much the main job for the day. We've got a little bit of preparation work to do with the grapevine, and we also have some prep work to do with the sugar beet fields which we've just harvested. So a busy day ahead, so let's get started. Right, here we go then. 15,000 litres of canola oil to be sold, so let's see what we're going to get for that. Just about 2,000 per pallet almost, so should be around about 28,000, so that's not bad considering it's just a smallish field of canola. And it doesn't take much work to get that, so that's a good little bit of income. Better close those back doors first, can't go through there like that. So that's that dealt with. Now we can jump over into the harvester and we can begin the harvest of the sunflowers, and we'll get a worker happening on that once I've done the headlands. So here we go, we are up here at the sunflower field. Get started nice and early in the morning. It's going to be a long day on this field, and I will go around the headlands first just so it makes it easier for the worker who's going to be doing the turning around, and then I'll be on the trailer running the sunflower seeds up to the oil mill. And we're also going to want to get the cultivator down here as well and get this field turned around today. You can see the grapevine needs pruning. We're actually going to have to purchase the pruner for that. I'm not sure of the price of that, but I'm sure it's a worthy expense, seeing as it's not going to replenish the grapevine if we don't do it. It's kind of a must. And we are dropping straw here, but we don't really want to be doing that, so I'll turn that off, as we don't want to be playing around picking up too much straw from this field. You don't get as much as you do from the wheat or the oats, so it's not really worth the hassle for that. So I'll drive it around and I'll get the first headland down, and that should just about be a full harvester load. We'll get that put into the trailer. Then we'll get a worker set off and we can start focusing on some of the other jobs that we have to do around the farm today.
So high I'm hypnotized. What's up is down, what's left is right. Chasing stars and holding you. I can't see the end, but we'll see it through. Dangerous times, don't fly too high. Be sure to keep the ground in sight. Fly forever if you keep it tight. Love the world, but keep the sky on your mind.
Ah, there we go. I've done a full lap of the field now, so this should be nice and straightforward for the AI to carry on with. I can now focus on other things, so I'll start by emptying him out so he can keep running, and that'll keep him going smoothly, and then I can just come back every now and then when he says 80% full, try and make sure that he's always on I'm always on the right side of him, which is the left side, so that I'm not having to drive through the crop and destroy any of it, and he can just keep moving. So that'll be very good. And then after this, so we're actually a month behind normal schedule because we're getting up there now with the number of fields that we have. So we have to push things back a little bit. The main focus is obviously making sure that we get everything harvested when it needs to be. We do have the winter months ahead of us where we can do field prep, but I'd like to try and stay on top of it if I can. So after this, November, we normally sell the eggs. So there's a good bit of money to bring in today as well with the eggs and the oils. So we'll make sure that we get those sold in a minute. I'll just drive this back up to the top of the field, ready for when he next is nearly full. And we're going to have to buy ourselves, so we need to plough the Sugarbeet field. Can't just run a cultivator over that, as I figured that out previously because I just cultivated it. Now we actually need to plough it, which is a little bit annoying because I did lease a plough to extend the field, so I should have just waited and done all of that in one hit. But here we go, we've got our eggs are all loaded up. There's a small amount over here. Can we lift that up by hand? Yes, we can. Might as well take everything that we can with us. And that'll do just fine. We'll take that on over to the store, get all this sold off, and then we can think about getting a plough and getting started on that job. That's another big job. Ploughing is very time-consuming work. So we need to get that done today as well, and we need to do some cultivation work over here in the olive grove. So there's heaps to do, and we've got plenty of time to do it all. But and look, over here we've missed the weeding stage of the canola field, so at some point we'll need to rent a sprayer so we can spray those weeds off. Well, here we are, 28,000 litres of eggs to be sold, so we'll see how much money that's going to bring in, and that's definitely going to be enough for us to purchase a plough or whatever we're going to use. I think we can use a subsoiler, which is a little bit faster to work with than the plough. I find it easier that way anyway. So 40 grand there for our eggs, so it's not a bad deal. We'll take that all day, so we can go and chuck this now over onto this field over here, keep that out of the way, and see how everyone's getting on. Looks like the worker is doing just fine there, so we can just leave this tractor right here, and we'll jump into our Landini and we'll take that down to the store. Where are you going? Come. I wasn't expecting that to go that far. We better take that out of the road. Park that back up on the field, and we'll have to have a quick look in the shop menu just to see what kind of equipment we are going to use. So I'm pretty sure we should really be looking, might as well check the sales. Not really anything that we're going to be looking for. That bucket would be good. I don't know if that would attach to my telehandler, but it was a good sized bucket. But either way, so better check what kind of horsepower we're dealing with. So we've got 235. Oh right, the Class is actually the most powerful. I thought the Landini was, but that's okay. So 235 horsepower is what's needed. That only requires 130. What about the next size up? No, that's a bit of a jump. So we basically want the widest one possible so that we can get the job done as quickly as we can. And I think that Kuhn is going to be the best way forward for that. We'll just check the plows out quickly. But I really don't like using plows, to be honest. Yeah, so that's going to use up all of our horsepower. So I think this subsoiler here is going to be the best way. Purchase that, it's only 10,000. And we'll use the Class tractor because that's our most powerful. So that'll get the job done the most efficiently. So we'll head on down to the store, we'll grab that, and we'll get those two fields all ploughed up, ready for planting in the next season. And I'll get a worker to do most of it, but again I'll probably do a headland or two of it and just leave a worker to run around that. And then I can come back here and get on that trailer, make sure that the harvester is going to be emptied out properly, and then we'll just keep going along, and we've got other things to do as well. Here we are then, got the new subsoiler attached to our tractor. Hopefully we don't need a front weight for this, it should be okay I think. And it looks as simple as just lowering, don't need to unfold or anything like that. Nothing fancy about this thing then, just tow it behind. Sounds good to me, nice and simple. So I'll do a couple of runs across the bottom end of this field here, just because I want the worker to get it done without these trees causing any issues, and then they can just go up and down the field and continue on. And I think I need to go on and start thinking about cultivating the vineyard, because that is a big job. It's going to take a lot of time, and unfortunately I can't get a worker to do that, as well as making sure that the harvester is running uninterrupted around that sunflower field so we can get that job done. And it's just come up there with an 80% full notification, so once I've done this run across here we can get this set up on a worker, and I will quickly go and tend to the harvester, and hopefully he is on a downhill slope when we get there so that we can be sure to unload properly. Don't want to destroy the crop, and I don't want to interrupt the worker. So this should be fine now for a new worker to take over here and get this job finished for us, so we can leave that right there as it is, hire a worker, and we'll just flip through. And here he's on his way up the hill, so we'll have to wait for him to get up to the top before we empty him out. He should have enough room in the harvester to do that. If not, I'll have to kick the worker out of it and I'll take over to empty the machine myself. So while all that's happening, we may as well just double check that the subsoiler is actually doing what it needs to do. So we need the ploughed menu there. So yeah, looks like it is doing it. A little bit of weed happening over there on the other part, but we'll get that all ploughed up as well today hopefully. If not, well, it's just a job for the winter months. We're not planting anyway until the new year. And hopefully that subsoiler eradicates the weeds. I know what when you plough it does. So it would be good if that happens. Save us weeding it next time it gets planted. Well, it looks like the worker's having a bit of difficulty with this edge of the field, so we'll just transfer him over to the other side. And now that he has done one run up there, he should be okay to just finish it uninterrupted, hopefully. If these guys don't do what, if they get stuck like that and you don't notice it, or you don't do anything about it, they just sit there costing you a fortune. And look at that, good timing on that harvester. He's just about got the right amount, just about a full load there, so we can put that into our trailer. And then we can get cracking on to that grapevine, which is the next job for the day. And I have to do all of that job, as well as maintaining this trailer, because we can't use workers for that. But we do like that you can use the workers to do the harvesting and the cultivating and all that stuff, so it is very helpful. Would just be nice if they could do any other job as well. But if that was the case, I wouldn't be doing anything myself. Now that we've got the money to be able to afford workers, we can just spam them left and right, but we don't want to do it too much. Do some farming ourselves as well. It's quite a relaxing, therapeutic job. So we'll let that fill up, and then we'll just get on to that grapevine, and hopefully that won't take us too long. And this worker looks like he's going quite well. Should probably be another 2 or 3 trailer loads out of here before we finish the job up. And we'll get a worker on the cultivator, and they can get started with that probably once the harvester's over halfway through the field, because the cultivator is a lot wider, and he'll catch up to the harvester pretty quickly, I would say. Yeah, coming through. So we'll just double check that this needs to be cultivated. does say ploughed on the menu. Yeah, it needs to be ploughed. So the grapevine looks like it's been done. Not great. Hasn't been fertilized at all yet though. So we are pretty good on the grape front. So we'll just plough this side up, get all this finished, and then I suppose through the winter months we're going to have to get a couple of loads of fertilizer down on through here. That's going to be another job that I have to do, which is fine by me, and we'll have to do the mulching as well, but it all pays off in the end once we go and sell those olives. We've got 3 years worth of olives stacked up, which sounds like a lot, but it really isn't, because we're getting such a poor yield of this at the moment. We just need to think about extending the olive grove further down the line here, so maybe we'll think about that next year. Oh, there we go. Didn't take too long at all. A couple of hours, not even in game. Just about, takes me about 15 minutes of my time to do that. So that's that job done. Next up for this thing will be to get it fertilized, and mulching will happen probably in March or April time next year. So that'll be fine. So we can just leave that to grow pretty much now. And we are gonna just go and drop the mulcher off down at the shed here, and we are going to drive this tractor down to the store, and we will just get that prepared for when we need to purchase the grapevine pruner. So we'll need to buy that probably, I think it'll probably be ready for pruning, well, it's whenever we're ready, but we've got jobs to do today, so I'll probably get that done through the winter. And same thing, we need to fertilize that. 2 coats of fertilizer through the grapevine, and the grapevine's a lot more profitable to us than the olive grove, so we definitely want to keep that going and probably extend that at some point, but for now we are doing all right from the grapevine, so it's all going well on that front. Well, here we go then, and we may as well refuel this machine while we're down here, so that can go in. And this guy is just about finished doing what he needs to do, so I'll let him finish that, and while he does that we can purchase this pruner. So 16,000, and that's going to be the tool that we need to take care of our grapevine for the next month, and we'll use that every season of course. So he's now finished his job, and I think, I'm not too sure if I got every part of this bottom edge on this field here. Maybe just like a couple of 100 mils short on this little piece here, so I'll just make sure that I get that before we move on to the next field. We want to make sure that we've got everything done. I don't know what I'm going to plant in this field just yet. Might do another field of oats or possibly wheat, just depending on, because we're going to be thinking about getting that cereal factory happening soon, so it wouldn't be a bad idea to keep on with the oats. And now we'll get started on this field. There's a few different textures on this field. That's because the area on the right I ploughed up to extend the yard, or extend the field rather, and the area on the left has just been cultivated, so we need to make it all match up, and once it's all been planted and harvested next season, then you won't be able to tell the difference. But right now it just looks like there's a lot going on here, so we'll get this power harrowing done. Well, it doesn't look like we can use a worker for this, so I'm going to have to do this part myself, but that's okay. Probably going to end up leaving it quite patchy, as I can't tell the difference between what's been done and what hasn't, so I'm just going to have to wing it and see what happens, and we'll just have to check the map at the end, and we'll just tidy it up when it all comes accordingly. So our harvester there is 80% full, so we better just stop here. Yeah, we can't find a field apparently there, so we will have to come back to that, the ploughing there, and we'll carry on here with the harvester. And this may end up filling the trailer up here, so after this I'll go and run this up to the oil factory so they can get processing, and then we'll come back down and we'll carry on with this, and in between we'll do a little bit on the subsoiler. So there's plenty for us to be doing, a lot to keep us busy, and the harvester's doing a good job here. He's done about 60-70% of the field, so we'll get that cultivator set up soon as well, and then that can get running around, and then we'll have to start thinking about getting the first layer of fertilizer down on this field as well. And we're going to need to have a tidy up around here somewhere as well. A lot of stuff lying around at the bottom end of this field here, so it hasn't quite filled us up, so we'll go back up to the top and we'll wait for the harvester to give us enough to do a full trailer load, and then in the meantime I think I'll go and do some more subsoiling, and then we'll come back to it. But he should be just won't take him too much longer to finish harvesting this field, probably about the same amount of time as it will take me to do that subsoiling. So we'll keep the worker on for a little bit, and I'll go crack on with some of that, and then hopefully won't take us too much longer to come back and we'll have a full trailer. Okay, and I'm back. I've done the subsoiling on the other field that needs work, and that is pretty much finished. It is a little bit patchy, as I did say. It's quite difficult to see what I was actually up to, but the harvester's running quite well, and I've gone around the edges with the cultivator as well, and now we have a worker working on that for us. So we will just empty this guy out while he goes down the hill. He is over 80% full, and then I'll probably take over on the harvester and finish this job up myself, just to kill out the rest of the day. It's not going to take very long if I get into the harvester and do it. No point sitting here watching a worker waste our money. I don't want to get into doing the grapevine at this point, not today. Just want to focus on finishing the sunflower harvest, get this field cultivated up before we jump into starting something like the grapevine or any other field prep that we need to do. There is a little bit to do still with the field that we've just been subsoiling. We're going to need to put some lime down and 2 coats of fertilizer. So that's a job we can do out in the winter. Get that ready for the next planting season. I suppose it's a good time to talk about where the series is going to go and how much longer we're going to go with it for. So I feel like we're doing very well in terms of farming. It's not the most popular series on YouTube at the moment, so I don't think we're going to continue and go for anything like whole map completion. I'm pretty keen maybe to, once we get $1 million in the bank, then we'll call it quits. Either that or just keep going and once we've got a few more productions and this farm's making mega money every year, then we'll call it quits after that. We'll just see how it goes, but I can probably say maybe another 10 episodes at the most for Farming Simulator, and then maybe in a year or two, whenever they bring the next Farming Simulator out, we might come back to it. Or if it's quite popular by demand, maybe we'll start a new playthrough if that's what people want to watch. But at this stage, I don't think that's what people want to watch at all. So if you are watching this and enjoying it, you got to let me know. Otherwise, it's just going to come to an end, and that'll be the end of Farming Simulator, and we'll start playing a different game. But this game, I just play it for the fun of it. It's just relaxing. There's no stress involved. You don't have to think. You're not going to get killed. So there's no worries about dying or anything like that. It's just a nice relaxing game, and I enjoy that part of it. Not every game has to be stressful and thinking too much and worrying about performance for YouTube, that is. If I was just playing a normal game where you can die and all that, then it's all good. But as I record for YouTube, I obviously want to try and do the best I can with every game, so that can add a little bit of extra stress for a playthrough, rather than just enjoying a game like I should. And I know it doesn't really matter that much, but that's how I like to play games. If I can put them on YouTube, then I want to do the best. So this game's kind of just a break away from stressful games, I suppose. But we will be playing Sniper Elite 5 very soon. That's going to be coming, and probably going to either play Assassin's Creed Odyssey or Ghost Recon Wildlands or Far Cry 6. Those are the games I have in my Steam library at the moment. So if you're interested in any of those, let me know in the comments, because I would love to know which one to play. Definitely going to play Sniper Elite 5 because it's kind of my favourite era, World War II, and who doesn't like killing Nazis with a sniper rifle? So that's one of my favourite franchises of all time, so I do want to do the campaign for that, and I'll be doing that on the hardest difficulty. So if you're interested in that, that's what will be coming up probably quite soon, maybe in the next couple of weeks. I've already recorded the first episode. I just need to do the editing, and then after that we can having a bit of trouble turning here. Must be stuck on a tree. Here we are. I need to do a little bit of wood chopping down here at some point, but at this stage there's no rush on that because we have plenty up at the sawmill. But we do need to do some more woodwork down here at some point. Maybe this time next year we'll think about that. So that's kind of where we're at with this game. I do enjoy playing it, so if you do enjoy watching it, you've got to let me know, because I am happy to continue watching if people want to watch. There we are. That's just about the end of the harvest coming up. We've got a full harvester almost. I don't think we're going to make it to the top, And just annoyingly, we have one little run to come back down and clean up, but that's alright. It's all good stuff. We want every bit of produce we can out of this because it all goes into the oils. So can't complain. Just would be nice if we had a larger harvester to get more work done faster. Especially now that we've got extra fields, we should probably be thinking about an upgrade on the harvester. We'll probably keep this one as well because it's not really worth a lot of money, and then we can have 2 harvesters going, one for a worker and one for myself, and that way we'll get a lot more fields done a lot faster. Especially with a lot of fields that we have, we're going to need more equipment because 1 day per month. We can change the days per month, but I just prefer to stick with the one. So we want to get as much work done as possible in those days. So if we've got more equipment, that will certainly make the job lighter. So there's not much left to do on this field for us. We'll just get this harvest done and get those sunflower seeds sent up to that oil factory. We'll get that processed. And we'll leave the cultivator down here to finish up this field. And we'll see what else we've got to do today. So I'll just quickly get this done and I'll see you up at the oil factory. Wow, there we go, got another 14,500 litres to deliver up at this oil mill here. So that's what we'll do, get that process happening and ready to be sold next season. Got quite a few pallets up here now. We've got all those raisins, got a few pallets of olive oil, and the canola oil is obviously processing at the same time. No, the olives are processing, not the canola. That's all finished. So the sunflowers will now take over. They can all get produced and ready to be sold up next year. Got a bit of clothing we'll need to shift over at some point later. What fabric it is. And gonna just go drop off this tractor and the trailer back up to the farmyard. Get that all dropped off and tidied up. And then we'll see where we're at for the day. There we go. We are back up here now. So we'll just make sure we flick through all the menus here and just take a look at our fields. So yeah, we missed little pieces here over with the subsoiler, but we'll clean that up throughout the winter. And also we need to fertilize it. It's got one layer on the newly ploughed area, and we also need to put lime down on there, and then 2 coats of fertilizer on both of those fields. So there's a little bit of work in that. We will have to hire the lime spreader as well for that, and we'll need to fertilize up here on the sunflower field. Don't really need to worry about the rolling. There's a little bit of work to do in the canola field. We've got weeds. We missed our opportunity to weed on there. A little bit of driving through the field there with one of the tractors. Must have been the Massey Ferguson because the other ones would have destroyed the crop. So yeah, another coat of fertilizer and remove the weeds on there. And then there's a little bit of work in the vineyards that we need to do. Other than that, we're looking pretty decent, and we just need to decide what crops we're going to plant in the new fields next season. Probably going to go with corn, I think. Maybe corn and maybe oats or something in the smaller field, but I'm going to do corn in the big field. Not really too keen on doing more sugar beet or sugar cane or anything like that, but we'll make that decision when the time comes in the new year. Materials wise, what we've got to sell, the next thing is going to be probably, well, we've sold the eggs. Silage, we might get a load of silage sold at some point. We want to keep some silage. The big money is the clothing, which comes in May, and then we've got the oils. So yeah, the canola oils in December. So we'll get a good price on that. We'll get that sold off. Raisins are worth quite a bit of cash actually, but we're going to keep a hold of those. And everything else, got the lettuce and the honey to sell over the winter. So I probably won't show too much of the winter because it's just all field prep. There's not much to do really. It's just fertilizing, weeding, all that kind of stuff, and then deciding what we're going to plant. So that'll be the next episode, I would say, will be the planting episode. And we'll probably be looking at purchasing another production over the winter as well, once we've sold off all of our products, and we can decide what production we're going to go with. So nothing in here for us to purchase today, unfortunately. Not really sure what we need to purchase at this stage. Could probably do with a bigger seeder, and we do need to buy a planter, so there's always something to buy in this game. It's never just as easy as that. But that'll be the end of this episode, guys, so hopefully you've enjoyed that. Don't forget to let me know in the comments what you think about the series going forwards, and leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you're new, maybe a comment as well, and I will see you in the next episode.